Hae Gang never imagined that Jong-yuan was not only the mastermind controlling the maintenance fund behind the scenes but also had dug up every detail about him. Faced with the crisis, Hae Gang quickly adjusted his tactics. He lied that he had no idea the maintenance fund already had an owner. Since the money could not be touched, he offered to defect to Jong-yuan and become the new custodian of the vault. Jong-yuan admired Hae Gang's composed response amid danger and acknowledged his earlier scheme to stage an unearthed cultural relic, forcing the subway exit to be rerouted. He decided to grant Hae Gang a chance to prove his loyalty and present his pledge of allegiance. The moment Hae Gang walked out of SungHa-Yuan's office building, his expression darkened. He secretly swore that he would get the key to SungHa-Yuan's vault no matter what. While Hae Gang ran into trouble, Xiao Li was having an equally tough time. When Xiao Ting dined with her property colleagues, she ran straight into Xiao Li. The management director greeted her warmly, repeatedly addressing her as Madam Chairman, exposing the secret that she and Hae Gang were only pretending to be husband and wife. Xiao Li could no longer keep up the pretense and had to confess to her sister. She told Xiao Ting that Hae Gang was merely her client, and she had been acting as his wife all along. Xiao Ting could not understand why her sister would engage in such absurd deception. Unwilling to keep lying to her sister, Xiao Li finally revealed the truth. She had never passed the bar exam, and her claim of working at a law firm was nothing but a lie. She knew how hard her sister had worked to raise her, yet she refused to let Xiao Ting carry the burden of her entire life. That overwhelming love had begun to suffocate her. The sisters fell into a fierce quarrel. Xiao Li remained gloomy all day and drank alone after work to ease her sorrows. Hae Gang noticed her odd mood. When he found her, he saw her crying by herself. Xiao Li poured out all her troubles with her sister. To comfort her, Hae Gang shared his own experience of being taken in and protected by his adoptive father. He understood the pressure of owing others favors, yet sometimes it was these bonds that pushed people forward. These words lifted Xiao Li's spirits greatly. For the first time, she discovered that the rough, hot-tempered Hae Gang possessed a gentle and delicate heart. The next day, Hae Gang went to visit his adoptive father, only to be told the old man was unwell and unavailable for a meeting. Hae Gang immediately arranged a meeting with Minister Sun and demanded that his adoptive father be granted medical parole. Minister Sun still insisted that money must be exchanged for the man's release. Hae Gang issued an angry warning: if anything happened to his adoptive father, they would not get a single cent. Minister Sun finally backed down. He agreed to let the old man receive external medical treatment first, but insisted negotiations for full release would still require money. After returning, Hae Gang told his underlings and Xinyi about SungHa-Yuan's true identity and announced that he aimed to become SungHa-Yuan's vault custodian, yet claiming that position meant gaining SungHa-Yuan's trust first. The most urgent task was to locate Chairman Su and obtain information about the vault. They searched everywhere but found no trace of Chairman Su. Just then, the elevator carrying Hae Gang and Xiao Li suddenly malfunctioned. Xiao Li could not help complaining to Hae Gang that as the acting chairman, he ought to replace all these frequently faulty elevators. Xiao Li's offhand remark instantly sparked an idea in Hae Gang's mind. He promptly called a meeting of building representatives. First, he listed the residential facilities requiring maintenance, including the repeatedly malfunctioning elevators. Then he shifted his tone, pointing out that expenses would keep mounting. For the present and the future, the residential maintenance fund contribution from every household had to be raised. Hae Gang was brimming with confidence, guaranteeing that more than half of the residents would vote in favor of increasing the maintenance fund on polling day. Early the next morning, residents heading to work, school, grocery shopping or walks all found the elevators broken down. Some were trapped inside, while others saw out-of-service maintenance notices posted on elevator doors the moment they arrived. For the entire day, every resident entering or leaving the complex had to take the stairs. Everyone was exhausted and grumbling, and their desire to replace the elevators reached its peak. In the end, over half of the residents approved the maintenance fund hike. Upon hearing the result, Hae Gang excitedly embraced the others to celebrate. Jong-yuan was equally astonished when he learned the news. He never expected Hae Gang would truly expand the funds under his control. The previous day, Hae Gang had taken the initiative to meet Jong-yuan and asked him to arrange maintenance staff to act in the middle of the night to shut down all elevators quietly. Jong-yuan agreed on a trial basis, never imagining Hae Gang would deliver such a huge surprise. One subordinate worried that if the elevators were not replaced for a long time after the maintenance fund was raised, the residents would stage a protest sooner or later. Yet Jong-yuan had long seen through human nature. Once the money arrived, they only needed to keep delaying the replacement plan under various excuses. People were forgetful. As long as the elevators resumed operation, they would soon forget their demand for new elevators. The subordinate then reported that Hae Gang wanted to seize the 10 billion maintenance fund to rescue his adoptive father. The man detaining Hae Gang's adoptive father was Director Gua, who hoped to join the medical society but was asked by Jong-yuan for a 10 billion admission fee. The one directly demanding money from Hae Gang was Minister Sun, Director Gua's lackey. Jong-yuan did not anticipate that after everything came full circle, the root of the matter traced back to himself. Even if Hae Gang managed to get hold of the 10 billion, the money would eventually flow back into his own hands. He found the whole affair increasingly intriguing. After looking into Hae Gang's background, Jong-yuan sought out Xia-ting. Over the years, no matter how he embezzled the maintenance funds, Xia-ting had managed to cover up the accounts flawlessly. Admiring her capability, Jong-yuan persuaded her not to resign and extended an offer for her to join Taishan Construction. That night, Xia-ting told Xiao Li her decision to work at a large corporation and urged her sister to keep sitting for the bar exam, telling her not to worry about anything else. Xiao Li refused to let her sister bear the burden of her life once more. This time, she wanted to chase her dreams on her own and let her sister pursue the life she loved. Xiao Li knew her words had hurt her sister. After parting ways, she wandered through the residential compound in tears and happened to run into Hae Gang. Since he had already seen her in such a vulnerable state, she simply asked Hae Gang if she could stay for the night. Hae Gang gave Xiao Li the bedroom and slept on the sofa in the living room. The next morning, just as the underling wondered why Hae Gang had slept outside, he saw a drowsy Xiao Li walk out of Hae Gang's bedroom. The group immediately began teasing them, suspecting the fake couple had become real. Afraid of disturbing them, everyone grabbed pillows and quilts and rushed out of the house, leaving the place for the two of them. Meanwhile, Jong-yuan summoned Director Gua. Director Gua presented a box of premium ginseng and fawned that the 10 billion would be delivered soon. Jong-yuan feigned ignorance and pressed him on where the money would come from. Director Gua confessed that a casino operator was raising the funds on his behalf. After sending Director Gua away, Jong-yuan summoned Hae Gang at once and announced that he had passed the assessment and could officially join the team. There happened to be an urgent assignment. Jong-yuan instructed Hae Gang to collect money from his subordinate Xiajin and deliver it to an apartment in Gainan City. It was money he had embezzled. With an audit looming, the funds had to be temporarily returned for inspection before being withdrawn again. Hae Gang headed to meet Xiajin as instructed. On the way, he received a call from his underling. The underling had found out that the last place Chairman Su was seen was Tai Jae-yuan. Chairman Su had entered the site and never emerged again, and all his family members had vanished too. He was most likely killed. The underling warned Hae Gang that Jong-yuan was ruthless, and managing the vault for him was tantamount to walking alongside a tiger. By then, Hae Gang had already reached his destination, Tai Jae-yuan. Beside every sapling in the garden stood a plaque engraved with a person's name, and Chairman Su's name was clearly visible among them. Xiajin told Hae Gang blankly that these were all people who had outlived their usefulness. Coincidentally, the sum Xiajin handed to Hae Gang was exactly 10 billion. As Hae Gang drove with the huge sum toward the apartment in Gainan City, he suddenly received a call from Minister Sun. Minister Sun informed him that his adoptive father had been diagnosed with pancreatic cancer and only had 3 months left to live. If he did not want his adoptive father to die in custody, he must bring the money for the exchange immediately. Upon hearing this, Hae Gang turned the car around without hesitation. He told Minister Sun he would arrive shortly with the 10 billion and demanded his adoptive father's immediate release. What Hae Gang did not know was that this 10 billion was the final test Jong-yuan had prepared for him. When Hae Gang arrived at the hospital and prepared to unload the money from the car, he suddenly spotted the family portrait drawn by his fake son Kingbei. Memories of the time he had spent with all of them flashed through his mind. Hae Gang knew that if the mission failed, this makeshift family would likely be wiped out entirely, just like Chairman Su's family. To protect those he needed to safeguard, he finally showed up empty-handed before Minister Sun. Minister Sun flew into a rage and slapped him across the face. Still, Hae Gang knew full well that the man was obsessed with the 10 billion and would never dare harm his adoptive father before getting the money. Entering the ward, Hae Gang looked at his sleeping adoptive father and apologized, vowing to get him out as soon as possible. On the other side, Jong-yuan learned that Hae Gang had delivered the full 10 billion to the designated apartment. He had not expected Hae Gang to pass the test, so he decided to formally take him under his wing. Seizing the chance, Hae Gang laid out his terms. He was smarter and more capable than Chairman Su. If he was going to manage the vault for Jong-yuan, he deserved proper compensation. Hae Gang explained that after the maintenance fund was raised, an extra 600 million would flow in every month, making him worth at least 10 billion. Jong-yuan pondered for a moment and finally agreed to his demands. Hae Gang returned home, planning to tell his underlings how he could earn the 10 billion. Unexpectedly, everyone suddenly brought out a cake and sang the birthday song. Staring at this warm big family before him, Hae Gang's eyes grew wet. This fake family, assembled for a scam, had long become an irreplaceable part of his life. The next day, Jong-yuan formally introduced Hae Gang to the management director and Xia-ting. He announced that Hae Gang would replace Chairman Su, forming a new iron triangle with the two to manage the apartment complex and funds on his behalf. He also gave each of them a sum of money. The management director was amazed that Hae Gang had gained SungHa Yuan's trust in such a short time. Xia-ting, however, knew about the partnership between Xiao Li and Hae Gang. Fearing her sister would get dragged into trouble, she warned Hae Gang to disband the fake family once they were alone. Hae Gang had no idea Xia-ting was Xiao Li's sister, Hearing that she knew his secret, he was instantly filled with suspicion. Back home, Xiaoting warned Xiaoli to enter cooperation with Hae Gang without delay, for Xiaoli had no clue what kind of man Hae Gang really was. Xiaoli, in turn, did not know her sister was already tangled up in SungHa Yuan's criminal network, and thought her words made no sense. Overwhelmed with anxiety, Xiaoting pulled a secret ledger out from the bottom of the cabinet. For years, she had recorded every falsified account to guard against Zhongyuan turning on her and silencing her. The evidence inside was enough to bring Zhongyuan down. While Hae Gang strove to obtain the 10 billion from Zhongyuan, another dispute erupted in the residential complex. Outsiders entered the compound through the access control and used public facilities such as the sauna room, sparking complaints from property owners. After reviewing surveillance footage with Ms. Zhang, Hae Gang found more than 100 cases of unauthorized outsiders using shared amenities. Most of these outsiders had been brought in by homeowners, while only a small number entered via tenants. Several building representatives loyal to Chairman Su saw an opportunity. They intended to stir up conflict between homeowners and tenants to create trouble for Hae Gang. On the day of the homeowners committee meeting, Ms. Zhang, the chairman's secretary, presented the investigation results. Only 4 incidents of improper facility use involved tenants. She urged everyone to stop targeting tenants. No sooner had she finished speaking than a mother publicly exposed her. Ms. Zhang defended tenants because she was a tenant herself. The mothers had long resented Ms. Zhang acting like she owned the place and lecturing them. They found out that the residence she lived in was not purchased property but public rental housing managed by the government. The mother pointed out openly that regulations stipulated only homeowners could join the homeowners committee. As merely a tenant, Ms. Zhang had no right to sit in on the meeting. The venue erupted in murmurs. The building representatives supporting Representative Su fanned the flames, demanding that Ms. Zhang leave immediately. Devastated, Ms. Zhang went home and broke down in tears. She lost all her usual energy afterward, staying listlessly in bed every day. Surprisingly, after the incident escalated, that mother took the initiative to apologize to Hae Gang. She only wanted to knock Ms. Zhang down a peg or two, not snuff out her passion. Hae Gang hoped she would apologize to Ms. Zhang in person to help the wounded woman pull herself together again. Meanwhile, a government official informed Zhongyuan that the president intended to roll out policies benefiting ordinary citizens to build an approachable public image. He demanded their new town increase its tenant population to support vulnerable groups. Tenants paid far lower fees than property owners, which would directly hurt SungHa Yuan's interests. For this reason, he harbored deep resentment toward tenants. Just then, the management director reported the conflicts between homeowners and tenants in the residential complex. Zhongyuan immediately summoned Hae Gang and ordered him to collect identity documents and information on every tenant in the compound. Once he obtained the list, he would drive all the tenants out little by little. In return, Zhongyuan would arrange the 10 billion Hae Gang needed as soon as possible. Hae Gang desperately needed the money to save his adoptive father, yet he refused to harm tenants like Ms. Zhang, who truly cared about the community. Back home, he chanced to see his underlings propping instant noodle pots on the property management regulations. He snatched the book at once and asked Xiaoli to explain the clauses related to tenants. The next day, Hae Gang visited Ms. Zhang's home and got straight to the point, asking her to resign as secretary to the homeowners committee chairman. Ms. Zhang thought Hae Gang planned to evict her too, but he went on to invite her to run for the new chairman position and manage the complex alongside him. Prompted by Xiaoli, Hae Gang had learned that residential complexes with more than 150 tenant households were legally required to set up a tenant representative committee. Their compound housed a full 1,200 tenant households, yet no committee representing tenants had ever been established. Hae Gang told Ms. Zhang the news right away and encouraged her to stand in the election. With Hae Gang's support, the reinvigorated Ms. Zhang canvassed residents and delivered speeches. She was successfully elected chair of the Tenant Representative Committee. The group of mothers who had opposed her even brought gifts to congratulate her, and the two sides finally buried the hatchet. When Zhongyuan heard the outcome, he was speechless with rage. Hae Gang had fulfilled the task of gathering tenant information by getting them to register voluntarily, while granting tenants a collective voice to safeguard their rights. Burning to fly into a temper, Zhongyuan could find no fault with Hae Gang's actions and had to swallow his anger. After helping Hae Gang resolve the tenant dispute, Xiaoli got off work on time and headed home. While cleaning, she accidentally discovered the secret ledger Xiaoting had hidden at the bottom of the cabinet. Staring at the dense records of falsified accounts, she realized her sister had been cooking the books for others all these years, funding her education with tainted money. When Xiaoting returned home, Xiaoli confronted her angrily. She could not accept that the price of chasing her dreams was her sister repeatedly covering up crimes for criminals. With that, she stormed out of the house. Xiaoting wept alone and submitted her resignation to the management director once more. Seeing the director still making excuses to delay approval, she revealed the existence of the secret ledger. If she was allowed to resign and guaranteed safety for the rest of her life, she would destroy the ledger with her own hands. Realizing how grave the situation was, the management director reported this to Zhongyuan without delay. Zhongyuan hated nothing more than being threatened. He immediately called Hae Gang, telling him to collect truck keys from Xiaojin and drive strictly according to his orders. If he completed the mission, he would receive the 10 billion right away. Hae Gang picked up the keys and climbed into the truck. Zhong Yuan directed him via surveillance cameras, instructing him when to go straight and turn, before issuing his cruelest command. The woman waiting by the road was none other than Xiaoting. The truck hurtled straight toward her. Terrified, Xiaoting slumped to the ground. At the split second before impact, Hae Gang swerved sharply and slammed on the brakes. The truck screeched to a halt narrowly in front of Zijan's vehicle. Ignoring Zijan's attempts to stop him, he strode straight to where Zhong Yuan was. Zhong Yuan laid out the 10 billion Hae Gang had long coveted and demanded furiously. If Hae Gang had run the woman over as ordered, he could have taken the money to rescue his adoptive father. Yet he could not even complete such a simple task. Pushed to the brink by SungHa Yuan's coercion, Hae Gang finally snapped. I may be a bad man, but you are nothing but trash.